Many guys go to the gym wanting to attract more women, but what they soon find is that they really only get attention from guys, and women don't even seem to look at them at all. This happens because most guys are simply just training wrong. They're optimizing for what men care about, not what women care about. So is it really any surprise then that their physique doesn't attract women? Not really. In this video, I'm gonna help you fix that. I'm gonna help you build the kind of physique that actually appeals to women. So the kind of overarching reason I can give for why your physique doesn't appeal to women is because you probably train more like a powerlifter rather than a bodybuilder. Now, let me explain exactly why that holds you back. First and foremost, training like a powerlifter rather than a bodybuilder just makes you train the wrong muscles, especially the wrong muscles from the point of view of attracting women. Now, powerlifting really focuses on the big three movements, which are squat, deadlift, and bench. And all of these exercises are not really going to help you build muscle mass in the areas where women find most attractive. Let's start with the deadlift, for example. Deadlifts in general are not really that good for even building muscle, but what muscle can you really even build well with deadlifts? Like your spinal erectors, like a big lower back. Have you ever heard of a girl caring about or saying about a man, oh man, that guy has like really attractive spinal erectors? No, she never says that. No girl cares if you can pull 315 or 405 off the ground. Again, obviously not no girl, but the vast majority of girls won't. And it's a similar story for squats. You're gonna end up building big quads and to an extent big glutes by doing a bunch of squats. But really, is that what women care about? There might be some niche women who care about big legs, but overall, women don't care about guys having humongous legs. Like, as long as your legs aren't like little like chicken legs where it just looks like, frankly, disproportionate with the rest of your body, you'll be fine. Training to get big legs as a guy in an attempt to try and attract women is like women doing a bunch of upper body work and getting like big shoulders and big biceps and a big like V-taper on their back or something to attract men. That is simply just not what men are attracted to in women. And similarly, again, the other way around, overall, a guy training for humongous legs and big glutes or whatever, it's just not going to help him in attracting women overall on average. The last movement is the bench press, and the bench press is okay. You know, at least it's focusing on an upper body muscle, it's focusing on the pecs, but I would still say, as you'll see later on in the video when I elaborate, it's still not the exact muscle you want to try and attract women. It's not your pecs and like your front delts are not really the muscle which like a woman sees and is like, oh my god, like that looks so hot, you know? It's obviously nice to have a good chest, but it's not sort of the attention grabber. Now, some of you hearing this might say that, hey, I don't only do these three movements, or I don't even particularly only focus on these movements. I still do other kind of like accessory work for like my arms and stuff like that. Well, in there's still inherently an issue, because if you have the sort of mentality that these are kind of like your more like main lifts, but then other muscle groups, like for example your arms and your forearms and stuff like that, you see those as accessory work. What that really means, that came out kind of weird, accessory work. What that really means is that you see that accessory work, so stuff like your biceps and triceps, stuff like your forearms, right? Stuff like your neck. You see that as accessory work inherently means that you see it as less than. You see it as secondary too. So even though you might not be only doing like squat, bench, deadlift, stuff like that, ultimately the way you talk about these things and the way you perform your workouts, you still care about them the most, and you care about some other muscles which will have a greater ROI in terms of attracting women. You still care about those less, and you put them as secondary too. Now, the second reason that training like a powerlifter rather than a bodybuilder is holding you back in terms of building a physique that attracts women is that you simply end up training the wrong way for muscle growth, really. Now, again, if you're into a lot of like powerlifting influence, or you're trying to lift to get just higher numbers, get stronger so that you can like flex to other guys that like, hey, my 1 rep max bench press is 225 or 275 or whatever it is. That again is just holding you back from building a physique that attracts women, because trying to optimize and maximize peak 1 rep max strength or like low rep strength is not helping you build muscle. It's actually holding you back. You'd build more muscle if you tried to lift slightly lighter weights but at a higher rep range. Many studies have shown this. When you're in lower rep ranges, say the 1 to 5 rep range, that rep range actually focuses more on building strength, building peak like 1 rep max strength through mental and like neurological nervous system adaptations. Higher rep ranges, say like 8 to 15 or whatever, those have been shown to be better for actually building more muscle. So when you're training really hard in the 1 to 5 rep range, you're essentially training to get more attention from guys. They're gonna be like, oh shit, that's pretty sick. He can bench press 175. Oh, he can bench press 225. Oh, he can bench press like 275. They're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. But at the end of the day, that's not what women care about. Women will care when they see your body and they see that you have bigger muscles. They don't care if you can 1 rep max like 225. They care if you just have big muscles overall and you have a presence. So staying in the higher rep ranges around, again, like 8 to 15, where you're actually able to optimize your training for building more muscle rather than just building like peak 1 rep max or like 3 rep max strength, that is going to give you a higher ROI on attracting women. So these were the 2 main reasons that were holding you back from building a physique that appeals to and attracts women. So now, what is sort of the solution to this? How can you start building the kind of physique and transform your physique into one that attracts women? I basically already just mentioned half of it with the rep range part, so I'll start there and reiterate a little bit more. Again, if you've been really focused on doing very low reps, like let's say like 1 to 6 rep range or something, I would say forget that. Like trying to get the max bench or whatever is not going to help you attract women. If your goal is to attract women, stay in like the 8 to 15. I honestly prefer the 10 to 15 rep range. Stay there. That's going to get you like a bigger pump. It's also going to, again, many studies have shown that you get better muscle growth in roughly that rep range. And overall, you're going to be building more muscle, getting bigger muscles. And again, at the end of the day, that is what is going to attract women. Beyond rep ranges, you really just want to be focused on building the correct muscles. You want to optimize your physique for the female gaze, not for the male gaze, again, which would maybe be like having big quads so you could squat more. Forget the male gaze, optimize the female gaze. Now, what is the female gaze? What optimizes the female gaze? Now, if you look into like the science of it or whatever, women are attracted to men who have sort of like a V taper or like upside down triangle. That's not triangle, but you get the point. Like an upside down triangle kind of physique, right? That's what they're most attracted to. What does that mean? That means wide, broad shoulders with a back that sort of, I guess you'd say like tapers is actually the perfect word, tapers into a slim waist. That is what that's what women like on a man. It's similar to how a man likes in a woman the hourglass physique, where she's kind of a bit wider up top, then slim waist, then wide hips again. That's what men are attracted to. And again, the opposite for women is that they're attracted to the V-taper. So to optimize for the female gaze and optimize for that V-taper, the 2 biggest muscle groups that you should really be focusing on are your delts and your lats. So again, those are 2 muscles that the big 3 powerlifting type movements and whatever don't really work out well. Those are the kinds of muscles that, powerlifters and stuff would place as accessories. But again, if you want to attract women, don't think of them as accessories. These need to be like your main movements. You need to make sure that you're building big delts, especially side delts and rear delts, because that's what's going to give you like that width look. And then you also got to make sure you're doing a bunch of pull-ups and whatever so that you can get wide lats. That's what's really important to attracting women. But obviously, you can't just stop there. Women obviously love big arms as well. So if you want to attract more women, you should be focusing a lot on your biceps and triceps. Again, those are areas where it's like a joke at this point, but like powerlifters will just place as an accessory and like not care about it. But again, if you want to attract women, if that's your goal, you want to focus on your biceps and triceps. And like, it's just a fact, man. Women like big guns, man. They like to be holding on to them as they're walking beside you and whatever and just feeling them up and stuff. It's definitely something that is the attention grabber. They love a guy who's like filling out his like biceps, like stretching his sleeve out wherever they are. When they see a man like that, like it is just like a raw sense of attraction, similar to what a man might get if, I'm not going to go there, but you get the point. Lastly, there are 2 more muscle groups which guys in general would not really care about, but they're going to give you a high ROI when it comes to attracting women. And those are the forearms and the neck and just upper back area in general. These are 2 muscle groups that are often just skipped, but again, skipping them is not really smart because these are 2 muscle groups that are underrated, but they have a big return on investment in terms of like the presence it provides your physique. When it comes to forearms, right? Most of the time you're gonna be wearing clothes, and a lot of the times you'll be wearing stuff that's like half sleeve. So it's like really it's your forearm that is the most visible to people in your regular everyday life, maybe at school, at work, or whatever, where you'll be attracting women. Similarly, the neck takes that sort of I guess like what's the right word? I can't think of the right word. That like situation and puts it on like steroids because your neck is basically always visible. I don't think basically anybody wears like turtlenecks these days, right? So at least a little bit of your neck is always visible. And having just a wider neck and like just bigger traps in general makes that area pop out so much more. And it just gives women a sort of like, you give them a sense of like bigger like presence being there. You just give the sense of like an overall more jacked guy. If you can have all the same muscle mass on the rest of your body, if you have like a thin pencil neck, like even I need to work on it, but if you have like a thin pencil neck, it makes you look kind of small. If my neck was like easily was like coming out to like here instead of where it is right now, you would think I'm more jacked. And again, most girls would do the same, just subconsciously. They don't actively think like, oh, his neck is so attractive, but it is something that they are attracted to, and again, it's just gonna increase your like raw presence. So overall, to start building the kind of physique that appeals to women and not men, you want to first and foremost start focusing on the right muscle groups, and those are the deltoids, the lats, the biceps and triceps, the forearm, and the neck and upper back area, like the trap area. That is what's going to give you the best return on investment in terms of attracting women. And secondly, you want to lift and train more like a bodybuilder rather than a powerlifter. Stop focusing on doing like 1 to 6 reps. Okay, those aren't going to help you build as much muscle. You want to be more in the 8 to 15, I would even say 10 to 15 rep range to build more and more muscle, because at the end of the day, it is the amount of muscle on your body that's going to attract women, and especially muscle on your body in the right areas, right? That's going to attract women, rather than you being able to deadlift 405. And that wraps up this video. If you found this video interesting, informative, or entertaining in any way, please consider subscribing to the channel. And also please consider visiting the link in my description and joining my free Skool community. In there, I have a free Skool course called the Skinny to Jacked Blueprint. It delves more into topics like this, and in general is about helping you build your dream physique, and gives a lot of advice on diet, recovery, and training overall. So if that's something that interests you, again, it's completely free. There's no obligation on you. It's a win-win for both myself and you. So again, I would really recommend checking that out. And yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. Bye.